Why do you think Cornwall Council is a pioneer amongst UK local authorities in PV?
Well, I suppose there are lots of reasons for why we think we're a pioneer. We've been a pioneer for many years in Cornwall, for centuries in innovation, in the Industrial Revolution. But one of the reasons we're a pioneer is because we are the first to look at how we are using a mixed lot of renewable energy technologies or mixed resources for renewable energy technologies, from the sea surrounding us, from the sun above us, from the wind that's around us, and from under the ground, from geothermal sources. And we have all of those in Cornwall, and because of that we see ourselves as being pioneering. We had the first wind farm in Cornwall in the early 1990s, and we've got various other things that have been happening there ever since.
Now, that's fine for general renewables. Our key interest obviously is solar, photovoltaics. Now, you have plans for multiple 5 megawatt solar parks in Cornwall. Can you give us a little rundown on exactly what these plans are?
Okay, well, no matter what other people might think, Cornwall is the sunniest place on the mainland of the UK. And because of that, we think we have a great opportunity for solar parks. We have also our own council farm sites, our council-owned land sites, which we can use, but we have landowners across Cornwall at the moment being approached. And the reason for that, of course, is the introduction of the feed-in tariff. And the reason for the rush at the moment is because after the initial period of the feed-in tariff, the tariff will digress, and so everybody's trying to get things in as quickly as possible. For us, that's really important. It's part of our whole picture, our whole ethos of self-sustainability, for a council as well, particularly for looking at it as an income generator. I firmly believe that councils in the UK, particularly under this current government, coalition government, are going to have to consider themselves more as businesses and going to have to look at how they make money in their bottom line, and at the same time support their communities. And by doing this, through solar parks or through building integrated renewables, we can help that happen.
How many 5 megawatt solar parks, have you on the drawing board right now?
The plan for Cornwall Council at the moment is to look at one initially and then follow that up as soon as possible with others, even up to 6 in the first period. Now, that is really pushing the boundaries, particularly if we're going to do it within the period before digression happens. So we may or may not achieve all of that. But whilst we're doing that, there are, in the private sector in Cornwall, are landowners, and we have some major landowners right across Cornwall, plus also smaller landowners, farmers, etc., particularly if they live close to an electric substation, are being approached. And they themselves are approaching developers to take the advantage of this feed-in tariff. So our council is going to be very busy over the next few months with the planning applications, etc., etc.
Okay. Do you mentioned trying to develop jobs, importantly, a new industry, a new industry that is really for the longer term. Do you expect to help nurture, actual PV manufacturing in the region? With this type of quantity of projects potentially, obviously the sunniest part of the country to go with it. I mean, are you looking further, to expand that infrastructure and the network there?
Okay, one thing that's really important for Cornwall is that if you're having a renewable energy programme of generation, whether it be solar or anything else, is we look at the whole of Cornwall. We look at all the issues that we need to address in Cornwall. We need to address things under the banner of economic development through environmental issues, plus also our social development as well. So the role it plays in Cornwall, particularly with our economic development, we have to, if we're having solar power in Cornwall, we really need to know what it means to Cornwall. The worst thing for a place like Cornwall, and it has happened, is you get developers will come in, they will say, yes, thank you very much, we'll buy this land, and some of us we might get a good deal on that land, but we're going to take everything out of that financially and take it out of Cornwall. So we need to look at the picture in Cornwall as to what it means to jobs and skills. We've got a university with a fantastic research departments here in Cornwall. So how does it all join up as a whole, as a holistic picture to drive the economy and social development and sustainable development in Cornwall? So that's what we're doing, and we're saying that to every developer that comes in as well.
what are your expectations for solar installations in Cornwall over the next few years?
Yeah.
You know, from a megawatt
Okay.
perspective,
Yeah.
what are you looking to aim for?
Yeah. Well, the point is, by 2025, we want to achieve a neutrality. So we want to be self-sufficient across all of the council's operations by 2025, and indeed to help, if we can, to achieve that right across the board in Cornwall. So that's why we're looking at generating more renewable energy, as well as obviously the income generation it can bring as well.